Yvette Carnell from Breaking Brown and Your Black World. And I just want to say good morning, Your Black World fam. Good morning, Breaking Brown family. Like most of you, I watched the Sandra Bland video last night. And, I don't really know what I was expecting from the video. I don't know. On some level, I think I was hoping that Bland was, belligerent and outrageous and um, you know, because on some level you don't want to believe that here we are again, and I'm not naive enough to say that that doesn't exist, but here we are again in a situation where a black person died because of singly and solely only because of the actions of a police officer. And what you saw in this video, which really blew my mind, and I can't say it blew my mind in terms of you weren't expecting this. If you're a black person, this is something that you expect, it's something that you've seen before. But over and over and over again, this guy pulls over Sandra Bland for a lane change violation, something that we know is BS. It's just one of those reasons that cops get to pull you over. But let's discuss what happens in the video. This cop pulls her over, walks over to the car, proceeds to do what he needs to do, do what's necessary to write her a ticket. Then he comes back over there and he starts needling her. He starts in a way mocking her. Are you upset? He asked Sandra Bland, are you upset? And everyone, I don't know anyone who is not upset or who is not annoyed at getting a ticket, especially if it's a BS ticket. If you're going, if you're going 95 and a 70 and a cop pulls you over, okay, I blew it. But Sandra Bland told him, I got over to get out of your way. I got over to get out of your way because you were tailgating me. You were the problem. Basically, that's what she was saying, but she didn't say that. She remained calm throughout the video. You could tell she was annoyed, like anyone would have been annoyed, but she remained calm throughout the entire video. She did what we're taught to do, as black people: remain calm, keep your wits about you and handle this in court. And that's what she was doing. She answered his question when he said, are you upset? She said, yeah, I'm upset. I got out of your way and, I'm upset because you're now giving me a ticket. And then he asked her the question. He asked her the question that's always, I don't care whether you're in a relationship. I don't care whether you are a police. I don't care whether you are an official in government. I don't care whether you're a celebrity. This is the question that is intended to instigate someone. Are you finished? And she didn't even get upset. She said, yeah, I'm finished. You asked me a question. I answered the question. He was obviously upset that this woman didn't acquiesce. She expected him to be like, no, officer, no, master, I sure is sorry. I was in your way. I sure do apologize. And when she was like, listen, I answered your question, when she behaved as a grown, mature black woman, a self-assured black woman, as opposed to a black woman who was meek and just kind of lowly and homely, and I'm going to just do whatever this officer says, no matter how demeaning it is for me. When she did that, it was obvious that she set him off. So now he goes to tell her, we're like at the end of this traffic stop. And he tells her, well, would you mind putting your cigarette out? Put your cigarette out for what? She's not threatening you. She's in her own car. And that's the question she asks him. Put my cigarette out for what? Why am I putting my cigarette out? At this point, the cop goes batshit crazy. And he says, well, get out the car. Get out the car. If you don't get out the car, I'm going to yank you out the car. And as we all know, everything goes downhill from that point. But let's just point out one thing. Any news network that tells you, and I saw this on NBC News, that this woman refused to put out her cigarette is a liar. Because that's what they're telling us now. The reason she was arrested is because she refused an officer's command. That's not what she did at all. She asked a question. Why am I being asked to put out my cigarette in my own car? That's a valid question. But this officer didn't believe that Sandra Bland had any rights that he was bound to respect. So how dare you, black woman, ask me a question about your rights and what your rights are in this situation. You have no rights in this situation. And you know how I'm going to prove that you have no rights in this situation? I'm going to pull your black ass out this car and I'm going to arrest you. That'll show you what rights you have in this little podunk Texas town. So this is what this was all about to me. And so I've seen so many cast this one said, well, she refused to put the cigarette out. No, she asked a question. And I mean, we're supposed to be able to ask questions of these people whose salaries we pay. Why can't I ask you a question? She asked a question and she was taken to jail for it, and she is dead today because she asked this police officer a question. She is dead today because Sandra Bland is dead because this police officer went down a ridiculous line of question. He had a ridiculous line of question. There was no reason for you to ask this woman why she was upset. You just pulled her over. You know why she's upset. You are a rogue thug cop. That's who you are. You know exactly why she's upset, but you want to needle her. Let me get her to act out. I want her to act out because I really want you to go to jail. Because in my mind, you're a black woman who has way too much attitude. Well, really, she didn't have any attitude. She was annoyed, rightfully so. You're going to have to pay a fine, and you're going to have to do all of this for a BS cop who decided to, not only tailgate you, but when you want to get out of his way, he decides he wants to arrest you. So she's in jail. She was taken to jail because this cop decided to take a ridiculous, line of questions and make a ridiculous stop, abuse his power. And that's why she got locked up. Now, I want to caution everybody about something. Everybody's saying that she didn't commit suicide, and I don't see any evidence as of yet that she did commit suicide. But even if she committed suicide, the cop still killed her. Because Sandra Bland never should have been in jail. If you look at that video, she never assaults the officer. If the officer gets kicked, it's because she is resisting an arrest that is unwarranted. She hadn't done anything wrong to warrant her being pulled out of the car in the first place. So she never should have been arrested in the first place. So, the only thing that she is doing is resisting an unwarranted arrest. You have to understand, at that moment in that car where he pulls her out of the car, she had committed absolutely no crime. So the point of the matter is, even if this woman did commit suicide, which I have a lot of questions about, he still killed her because you pulled her over for nothing. You arrested her for nothing. You berated her for nothing. You mocked her for nothing. So it really doesn't, I want to know what happened, because if somebody murdered her in that jail cell, and that is highly possible given what I've seen from this police department, if that happened, I want that person or those persons held responsible for that. But even if she doesn't, even if we find that she was depressed in that cell because because in a country where you can't afford to make mistakes, she was now in jail and charged with assaulting an officer. Even if we find that caused a level of depression that left her in a space where she decided to commit suicide, even if we find that that's true, they still killed her. So I don't want everyone to focus on whether or not she committed suicide. Yes, we want that investigation. Yes, we need to get to the bottom of that. But even if she took her own life, they killed her because Sandra Bland never should have been in that jail. So, I mean, this is what for me is so infuriating, because I've seen a lot of black guys say, after even Trayvon Martin, after Eric Garner, after Michael Brown, after John Crawford with the toy gun, I've seen a lot of black guys say that could have been me. I've seen a lot of mothers say after Tamir Rice that could have been my child. And when I look at, and I think a lot of women, when they look at Sandra Bland, we think that could have been me. I'm not a black woman who is trying to is in a space where I am trying to trying to challenge a police officer's authority. That's not what happened here. But I obviously look like I'm a person who's probably not in the mood for your shit. And that was just enough to set that officer off. So, I mean, I just wanted to put that out there, and we have to get to a space, black people, we're just not going to take this anymore. We can't take this anymore. These people have to go to jail. These people have to lose their jobs. These people have to lose their livelihoods and their ways of making income. And if they can't do that, if they don't do that, then they won't stop, putting us in positions to where not only, I mean, you have to think about how many other people have gone through this. And even if they're not dead, I mean, even if Sandra Bland had survived, this still would have been one of the most atrocious and overuses of authority and abuses of authority that I've seen in a while. So I think, even if she hadn't died, this should have made news. You have to wonder, how many black people has this happened to? And how long is mainstream society just not going to care? And if they don't care, we have to care. So stop. I mean, we keep having all these other conversations. We have to not only talk about this, but it's time to do something about this. And I'm not just talking about marches. We have to follow this thing through to the end. This guy needs to pay a price. He needs to have a consequence for what he did, because he set this in motion. So I just want to put that out there, and I want to hear your thoughts. Thank you, Your Black World, and Breaking Brown.